This is a 1982 motocross bike.
And this is a 2025 motocross bike.
Same weight, 40 years apart. But this modern bike makes twice the horsepower, handles like it's on rails, and rarely overheats. How did we get the same weight with double the performance? 5 innovations completely transformed dirt bikes, and most riders have no idea which one mattered most. Today we're breaking down the 5 innovations that changed dirt bikes forever. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 5 is the innovation that replaced the dirt bike's most notoriously fickle component, the carburetor. For decades, riders had to act as part-time mechanics, constantly dealing with this temperamental part. The carburetor's job was to mix fuel and air, but it was an imprecise and often frustrating process. It involved a sensitive balance of jets, screws, and needles that required constant adjustment. A change in altitude or weather could mean you had to change the jets. Getting it wrong meant your bike would bog, run poorly, or just not start at all. An engine could feel crisp one moment and then completely unresponsive the next. Then electronic fuel injection, EFI, came into the picture and changed everything. Suzuki took the first step, releasing the 2008 RMZ 450 as the first production fuel-injected motocross bike. Who remembers A1 2009, James Stewart, Chad Reed go down? James is still kicking his carbureted 450, while Chad Reed kickstarted his and had no problem getting going. Now, it wasn't a perfect debut. The initial model had issues that led to recalls, but that revolution had started. EFI uses a computer and sensors to analyze things like air pressure and temperature, automatically delivering the ideal fuel mixture in real time. The result was sharp throttle response, consistent power, and an end to swapping tiny little jets in the middle of the day. Bikes became easier to start, more reliable, and ultimately much faster. Our number 4 innovation is long travel suspension, which really transformed what was possible on a dirt bike. In the early days, suspension was extremely limited. Most bikes had only 3 or 4 inches of wheel travel. Landing even a small jump created a harsh impact, and riding through a series of bumps at speed was a difficult and unstable experience. Tracks were necessarily flatter and jumps smaller because the bikes couldn't really handle anything more. The revolution began in the early 1970s when Yamaha, working with Belgian inventor Lucien Tilkens, introduced a radical idea, the monoshock. Instead of 2 shocks bolted directly to the swing arm, a single, longer shock was mounted centrally under the seat. When the 1975 Yamaha YZ250 debuted with this setup, it changed everything. Rear wheel travel nearly doubled. Monoshock could absorb bumps that would unsettle other bikes, keeping the rear tire on the ground and the rider in control. This started a rapid evolution in suspension design. In 1981, Suzuki released its full floater system. It was a complex linkage that gave the shock a progressive feel, allowing it to be plush on small bumps while still resisting bottoming on big landings. In just a few years, suspension travel increased from just a few inches to over a foot. This one innovation enabled higher speeds, rougher tracks, and the large bumps that define modern motocross. At number 3 is the innovation that solved the problem of overheating engines, liquid cooling. For decades, dirt bike engines were air-cooled, relying on air flowing over cooling fins to manage temperature. For the most part, this worked, but as manufacturers began extracting more power, a major problem became apparent. Air-cooled engines would get extremely hot during a moto, causing their power to fade significantly. A rider could have a strong start, only to have the engine lose performance as it heated up. In muddy conditions that blocked airflow to the fins, engines were prone to overheating and completely failing. The solution existed on road bikes, but adding radiators, hoses, and coolant to a lightweight dirt bike was a difficult compromise. It really added weight and complexity. For a time, even factory teams were undecided, sometimes racing liquid-cooled bikes one weekend and air-cooled the next. The debate was finally settled in 1981 when Yamaha released the YZ125, the first mass-produced liquid-cooled motocross bike. Honda followed with a liquid-cooled CR250 that same year. This was a turning point. It also allowed engineers to build engines with a higher tolerance, unlocking more performance and more durability. The performance advantage was so significant that air-cooled engines completely disappeared within a few years. Now it's only fitting that number 2 is in fact 2-stroke to 4-stroke. For nearly 30 years, motocross was dominated by the lightweight, snappy two-stroke engine. They were simple and powerful. By contrast, four-strokes were seen as heavy, slow, and better suited for casual riding than racing. For a professional racer in the 90s, a four-stroke just wasn't a competitive option. And that all changed with our number 2 innovation, the modern high-performance four-stroke defined by the 1998 Yamaha YZ400F. Inspired by development in Europe, a Yamaha engineer pursued the idea of applying modern road racing technology to a dirt bike engine. The goal was to build a four-stroke that could rev quickly like a two-stroke, using a short stroke design, a lightweight piston, and a 5-valve cylinder head. When Yamaha asked factory rider Doug Henry to race the prototype in 1997, he was reportedly hesitant. I mean, who wouldn't be? But after riding it, his opinion changed. Later that year, Henry achieved what many thought was impossible. He won the Las Vegas Supercross finale on the prototype YZM 400F, sending a shockwave through the industry. The bike was a game changer. Despite being heavier and having a more complex starting procedure, its potential was very clear. The YZ400F proved that four-strokes could be competitive, sparking a development race that would eventually lead to their dominance and forever changing the sound of the sport. And now for the number 1 innovation, the aluminum frame. While it may not sound as exciting as a new engine design, the frame is the core of the bike, and the shift from steel to aluminum was a fundamental step in its evolution. For most of the sport's history, frames were made from chromoly steel. Steel is strong and has a natural, forgiving flex that riders appreciated. Its main drawback, however, is weight. As engines and suspension became more advanced, the chassis was the next area for a major improvement in handling. The modern era of aluminum frames began in 1997 when Honda released the CR250 with its twin-spar Delta Box aluminum frame. It was a radical departure from tradition. The goal was to create a lighter, more rigid frame that would allow the advanced suspension to work more effectively without unwanted chassis flex. There was just one problem. The design was notoriously flawed. The frame was too stiff, which created a harsh ride that transferred every bump and vibration to the rider. The ride was so unforgiving that it became a major factor in superstar Jeremy McGrath's decision to leave Team Honda. So why is this specific innovation at the top of the list? Because even with its flaws, it was a crucial turning point. Honda and other manufacturers learned a valuable lesson from it. They began to engineer tuned flex into their aluminum frames, finding a balance that offered the weight savings of aluminum with the forgiving feel of steel. This new approach to chassis design set the standard for the precise, lightweight, and responsive frame used on all modern Japanese dirt bikes. But what do you guys think? Did I miss a crucial innovation? I know KTM has the steel frames. I know Japanese bikes still use the aluminum frame. That's a whole nother video in and of itself. KTM seems to make it work, so what the heck do I know? But let me know what innovation you think belongs on this list as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate the support. If you consider liking and subscribing, I really appreciate it. Appreciate all the support and all the love. Come do the sign off with me. All right, I'll do the sign off. I'm trying to get my wife to do it. Till next time, guys. Cheers.